Hi, everybody. Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered with Eden and Christine. And this is what we are calling our anniversary episode. The month of August, we're considering our anniversary month. Kind of like when you have a birthday month, you're like, the whole month, it's my birthday.
And I'm a Leo, and that's how I feel.
That's how you do it? Okay.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. And it is your birthday month.
Yes.
So this being our anniversary month, your birthday month, there's just a lot to celebrate. And yet you have decided that everybody else gets the present. And by that, and we're going to get into this a little bit further into the episode, but you had asked for photos and a little bit of a summary to go along with each photo for spaces, people who might want, since you are a professional organizer, to have their spaces organized. While we're not an organizing podcast. We're for women over 50 on all subjects. This is a gift that you can give to our listeners.
Yes.
And so you've done it.
Yes. And also it really is, all these women were women over 50 and they're all going through similar situations in their life. And I think part of being over 50 is purging all parts of your life, whether it's friendships, jobs, anything that you just want to let go. And organization is part of it because you're letting go of years of clutter and things that have not brought you any kind of joy or peace in your home. And women are finally tackling their spaces and making them places that they can't wait to come home to at the end of the day, which is music to my ears.
One of the things that gives me a lot of peace is when we started this podcast, with every podcast, with every new adventure, you feel your way around. You say, okay, this episode's going to be organizing. This episode has no organizing. This one has a little bit of organizing. But what we have found is over the course of a year, we've kind of found our footing. We've recognized that it isn't, like you just said, to reiterate what you just said, it isn't necessarily about today we're talking closets. It's more about in life, you're going to have moments where you're all over the place like me, or you're going to feel like you need to get super organized like Christine just to bring it all together. And it does go over every subject of your life, relationships, as you just said. I'm just basically spitting back at you everything you said because I wholeheartedly agree with it. Here's the other thing we're doing for our anniversary. We have a giveaway right now on our Instagram.
Yes.
A $100 Amazon gift card. I'm sure everybody listening has something in mind that they could use that for. And it's going on. If you're listening to this podcast the week that it is launching, you'll have until Friday. If you're listening to it past that, just keep an eye on our Instagram because we're going to do it again. It was a huge success.
Yes. So follow us on Instagram because that's where we have all the great clips of past episodes. And we're really going to be a little bit more involved on Instagram. So yeah, follow us on Instagram.
Now, on our ladies only Facebook page, not to be confused with just our regular old Facebook page, but we have a group that you have to actually ask to join. And so many of you are a part of that group. And we share different stories on that group. That's a large part of the way we get a chance to connect. And so I shared a little funny joke this morning on there. It's like a meme, I guess, but it's not a picture. It's just a little joke. So it said, a scammer called today and said, "Listen, Grandma, I have all your passwords. What do you think about that?" So I grabbed a paper and pen and said, "Thank God, what are they?"
I absolutely love that because I told you in one episode, everyone's like, "What's the password?" I'm like, "Is this a joke? I changed that password 12 times ago,
Who even knows?
Who even remembers?
Who knows?
They've got to come out with something. I don't know when, where you don't have. And then do you like when they say, "Do you want to use our passwords?" And it's like 12 numbers and letters long. And now I'm supposed to remember that.
Why in the world would I use that password?
It's just, even my daughter said this weekend, "Mom, you and Dad need to stay together forever because you both are so technically challenged." I mean, I don't know which one of you is worse. So
does she mean that because you can take care of each other, or does she mean neither of you could ever go on the apps and figure it out?
Neither one of us could ever go on anything. We'd both be going, I don't know.
I was thinking dating apps. You'd be like,
oh, no. I mean, like just again. Anything. I'll ask him, "How do you do this?" I don't know. And, so
that's why we had kids.
Yes.
So speaking of our kids, you got yours that came back to the nest, back out on her own, in her own apartment. So as much as we have been telling parents, just because of the timing over the last several weeks, we've had a few opportunities to talk empty nest. And as much as we keep saying, don't worry, they come back.
They come back.
They do come back. It's also very nice when they leave again. And it's different when they're on their own. It's not like the same as with college where you're still covering them on their expenses
right.
their every needs and desires. This time around, she has her own place. She's paying her own bills.
Oh, yeah. Well, she has been. She has been. She just moved from Texas back to Florida.
That's true.
So she was only with us for a few weeks.
Okay.
So it didn't last long at all. But, it was so nice. I mean, I just love it when it's, short term when they come home. You just don't ever think you're going to get those times again, But we moved her into her new apartment. And I have to tell you, it's 150 degrees here in Florida. So, it's hot. And so to move anybody anywhere is a challenge, but to do everything in this heat, and she was such a trooper, I have to say. But the funniest part is my husband and I were in her new apartment, and he opened the sliding glass door to look out off her balcony, and she goes, hey, you need to shut that door. I'm paying for this AC now. And we both looked at each other and went, oh my gosh.
No kidding, really?
I mean, it's so funny. When it was my AC, we could leave the doors open, but it's her AC now, so.
It would be great if Mitch would say, I'll close it, but first let me go take a really hot shower for 25 minutes.
And let's leave all the lights on and go somewhere. And
we're feeling it right now too. Our girl child is back home after graduating college, and eventually she will move out, but she is in absolutely no rush and is enjoying telling us how much money she's going to save by not moving out. And we're like, really? So you're going to save that much, are you?
Yeah.
And then she went grocery shopping yesterday, and she said, by the way, if you want to eat any of my food, you can. Just let me know. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much for that.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're finished, and she's moved in, and we're empty nesters again. So there you go.
Congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's launch into this anniversary special episode. Now, my role in this is pretty simple. I am not looking at photographs.
Right.
Christine has seen all the photographs. She is going to describe things, tell us the advice she offered to each of these individual friends of ours, podcast listeners. We're now, once you've joined that group, you're our friend.
Yes.
And so she's going to share what she shared. My job is basically to help you visualize what she's saying. So if there's something I can't picture, I will ask. I'm just absorbing it along with everybody listening. So why don't you take it away? You had so many wonderful people reach out.
We had so many people reach out, so we could only pick, a few. Mm-hmm. So I would like to say, first of all, thank you to everybody who did send their photos. I want you all to know that you all had so many things in common that you think you're all struggling with alone. And that's part of what I see in my job as a professional organizer. Everybody thinks they're alone in their struggle to declutter and get organized. And the second thing you all had in common was you thought that I would be appalled by everything I saw. Every one of you said, I thought you were going to ask for that. I thought you would think that, and it's because everybody thinks their stuff is the worst. Everybody. I see it all the time in my job, and seeing all of this, I was not shocked or surprised by any of it. And as a matter of fact, I was touched. I really loved that they trusted me enough to see the spaces. So yeah, I was very impressed with you ladies, and I can't wait to get to it.
All right, so let's start to unpack this, shall we?
Okay, so the first one I saw was from Sherry, and this one was very interesting. I'm going to read what she said because I asked her to go a little deeper and describe the space and, if she was an empty nester. And she said, this is our living room. It has a fireplace on the wall to the right, a sofa, 2 chairs, a church pew, which I love that. That's very interesting. From my preacher grandfather's church, an antique piano. I'm 59 tomorrow. Happy belated birthday, Sherry, and retiring from nursing in February. Wow. I mean, that's a really rewarding career. My husband has been retired since 2017. We are empty nesters, 3 kids, 4 grandkids, and downsized to this house, which is a fixer-upper. I've been there, done that, in our hometown at the time. I've always loved bookshelves, but have never loved the way mine have looked. It's like I want to cram everything I love or simply like onto the shelves. The low-hanging fruit would be to minimize some of the books. I love my photos and nursing and Maui memorabilia. The struggle may very well be getting rid of items. Maybe I should get a tote and put some things away for several months and see if I miss them, which I loved that idea too.
That's a great idea.
Clever.
So what I'm envisioning, without having seen the picture, is this space that has some very important to her pieces in it. Yes. Obviously that piano and that pew. And then this gigantic bookcase, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And it's just on the eyes, it's like a lot to take in with so much on it.
You're psychic. I love that.
Thank you. So what are we doing for this?
So what I made a suggestion for her is, first of all, I want to say sometimes as you grow older and your lifestyle changes, whether you're downsizing an empty nester, sometimes the pieces of furniture that you take along with you on those journeys, you've kind of outgrown. And bookshelves sometimes can be one of them, especially when you have a lot of space, but nothing to fill them with. Then you feel like you have to fill them with something. So the first thing she did was purge, which is absolutely what I would say is you need to thin this out. The second thing is to really look at all the bookshelves because there were so many. And, maybe look at that wall in a different way if you don't have the items to fill up the bookshelves, because you shouldn't just fill something up for the sake of filling it up, like making a home goods run and just cramming a bunch of stuff onto shelves. You really need to look at your lifestyle and say, maybe I only need 1 shelf. Maybe I can use the middle, which had glass doors, to store items like china or crystal off the kitchen so that you're using the space more wisely. The second thing I saw was trying to fill spaces, even low bottom shelves, with photos that were framed. I like to keep photos in at least the same color palette and keep them at least eye level because no one's looking down at the last bottom shelf at a picture. You can't see it. And maybe using baskets along the bottom. So it brings in the warmth because baskets always bring in warmth. And then you have those 2 bottom shelves covered. And then really going through all the photos in the frames. I have many clients when I say, okay, we're going to go through all your photos that are out. Do you want to keep the frames? Oh God, no. Like nobody wants to keep old frames. They love the pictures. We're not throwing the pictures away, but the frames are from 1985, 1998. I mean, you even have to update frames when you're looking at a bookcase. So I think she did a really good job purging. I just would like her to look at the space and see what she really, really needs in her life and not just putting things like she says, and maybe doing that, taking a bunch of stuff off. And if you don't miss it in a year, 6 months, get rid of it and know that maybe you have more room in that living room for other things, or getting creative and using this in a different way that will work for you and your husband.
Okay. So that wall unit shelving may not even be something she needs to keep. If she doesn't miss having all of those things there.
Right. Or using the shelving in a way that works for her and not making her feel like she just has to shove and put things on there that she doesn't really like or want. Okay. And I love also neutral, keeping bookshelves very, very neutral because it's calming. When you have a lot of bright colors and different patterns, it's not very calming.
I have to have a settle an argument moment with you between my husband and me for bookshelves.
Yay.
He pushes the books back against the wall and then they're different, like,
Yeah.
Do you want the books? Where are the books? On the edge?
More towards the front.
And even, like uniform, right?
I mean, everyone's different. Some people like lay a few on the side and put something decorative. It just depends on the space.
But don't push them against the wall.
But, you want to incorporate books that are books that you love, that you would maybe want to reread again, or they, maybe meant something to you. But a lot of people keep so many books. Mm-hmm. They just keep them in boxes and they don't even look at them. Mm-hmm. So books can become a lot of clutter.
Yeah. Maybe your neighborhood needs one of those lending library.
Oh, I have that in my neighborhood.
We have that in ours too. I love it.
And I've mentioned this before. Their libraries in your local community would love to take the books that you no longer want. I can tell you for a fact. So if you don't want them, you should just donate them to your local library.
Okay.
The next one is a closet. And this is from Carrie. Hi there. This is our closet. We are empty nesters, mid-50s, work full time, and have 6 cows. I love
6 cows.
She has 6 cows. And I'm not very well organized at all. I'd love the chance for you to help. Well, first of all, Carrie, I also share a closet with my husband. So
I thought you were going to say, I also have 6 cows.
Oh, I wish I had 6 cows and some goats and some chickens, but that's a whole nother podcast. Anyway, so I can relate to what she's going through. The first picture she sent me, I have to tell you, I couldn't really get a good grasp to see. So I asked her to send me more pictures. And the reason why it didn't work really well is lighting. And I'm going to talk a minute about lighting in a closet. If you can't see what you have because the lighting is so bad, you need to change out the light fixture, or at first try brighter light bulbs. I cannot tell you how many closets I've gone into, and that is the very first thing I recommend, changing your lighting so that it works in your closet, especially if you have a walk-in closet and 2 people are sharing it. You have to have good lighting. So that's the first recommendation I'm going to make to her. The second one would be my standard, change your hangers. There are wire hangers. There are plastic hangers. There's different color hangers. I think that would immediately make the space look calmer. The next thing I am going to suggest is I'm looking at the top shelf and there's men's baseball hats. There's some beauty products up there. There's some stuffed animals. I think that one mistake people make is they have a top shelf, but they don't use it the right way. They don't use the vertical space on the shelf. So I do see some clear bins in there, and I would suggest doing as many clear bins as you can and stacking them and labeling them. I just did that in my own daughter's closet, and it is the best solution to keeping organized and being able to see what you have. The next thing, after seeing quite a few pictures, I definitely think there needs to be some purging going on. I know it's going to be, a task, but I feel like, especially on all these top shelves, getting containers, different sizes, they come in all different sizes, and making sure you measure the depth of the top of the shelf and put purses in one and label the outside. I see a piece of furniture I even put an arrow with to remove. I think the closet needs to be as sparse as possible. And there is a calendar on the wall. There may be good use for that, but I see that wall being for hooks so you could hang purses or belts, like using that space for hanging items. But really, by looking at this, they need shoe storage, which could work underneath the short hanging. But first and absolutely foremost, we need to purge, because there's just so much stuff that I see, if I were there, that we could let go of and really utilize that space. And I hope I helped her as much as I possibly can.
Do you think that picture is reflective of a good majority of the closets that you see? Yes. So Carrie probably was one of the people that said, "Oh, I'm embarrassed," but that's That's how my closet
Yes.
looked before I met Christine Stone.
Yes.
Okay, exactly
This is
like
the
that.
norm.
That's the norm.
This isn't. And one thing I'm going to tell you again that everybody had a thread of it being in common about is they thought that I would be mortified when I asked them to see more pictures. So nothing surprises me.
No.
I have seen it all. And her photos of her closet are the norm of what I see, not weird or unusual or anything. So Carrie, you can do this. I really, and any of you that I'm reading these, if you end up doing this, please send me after pictures.
It's only fair. We all want to see.
I mean, we all want to see them.
We won't share them online, but Christine and I want to see them. And if you give us permission to do before and after, maybe we can be convinced to do that. But it would have to be your idea.
Yes. And you can private message us too.
Yeah,
and
let us know.
Yeah. Anyway, the next one is Gina. She says, hello, beautiful ladies. I liked that
Hi,
as a nice
Gina.
beginning. Hi, Gina. So I'm a realtor and a part-time nurse. I love all these nurses. This is so great. An empty nester that is fortunate to have a fourth bedroom as an office. That is very fortunate when you have a fourth bedroom. Trying to get organized so that I can easily grab my go-to information, but it always looks in disarray. Okay, so Gina, when I was looking at your space, I'm going to say it again. You guys are going to be sick of this, but the first thing I saw was really trying to purge. You didn't have tons from the pictures I saw, but I still saw some things that we could let go of and try to reorganize. One thing I saw was I think you need shelving in order to stay organized. Since you are a realtor, I know I work with so many realtors in the business. I know the amount of paperwork, the amount of things going on. So I think having maybe open shelving, having some, I'm trying to think of the word for those. They are,
like a file
organizers, but you can bring them from place to place.
Okay.
And you could have a few on the bookshelf and you can differentiate it, maybe contracts or, whatever you want to put in them. But I think taking the collage picture off the wall and having tall shelving will help you a lot because you need a place to have items so that you can stay organized. I saw a sofa in there as well. It's kind of a half a sofa, so I really couldn't tell. But I don't know if that's a sofa bed and you use it as a partial room. But not being able to see the whole office, I just think that you need shelving, maybe a storage ottoman so that you can keep pillows and blankets in that if you do have that as a sofa bed. Also, the roll top desk. My question is that working for you? And you may say, what do you mean? A lot of people inherit furniture. They have furniture from 10 years ago. Figure out if that desk is really working for you. If it's not, I would let it go. I would consign it. I would donate it or whatever, give it to a friend or a relative, but find what will work for you in a desk system and a file system. Okay. So that's my suggestion to Gina. And thank you for the hello, beautiful ladies comment.
That was nice.
Okay, next one, Michelle. Hello, I am an empty nester. Another commonality between everyone is they're empty nesters, so the space is different.
Yeah, my guess is it's a lot of a situation where you don't feel like when those kids are getting ready to fly the nest is the time to get organized. But right after they go or after they've been gone for a few, you're ready.
Right. Or you're moving and you're downsizing.
Exactly.
So Michelle says, hello, I'm an empty nester who works from home. I am the director of a virtual school, plus working on my own business. This is a picture of my home office, which is always a mess. I struggle to keep 3 zones separate: virtual school, business, and home. Please help. Thank you. So I looked at her first picture and I said, is there any way you can send me more pictures? Because just looking at one wall in a room when you're an organizer is not that helpful. You want to look at the whole space. So Michelle said, I was afraid you were going to say that. It's obviously in great need of organization, which Michelle, that made me laugh. So anyway, what I see for Michelle is trying to separate things in 3 zones can get overwhelming and frustrating. So that's why you have to really purge down to what you absolutely need, and shelving will help you the most in this situation, especially if you're homeschooling. You have all your home bills you need to pay, because you're going to need a file system that works. And so shelving, like we said with the other office, it's essential if you want to keep things organized by keeping different zones organized. So her desk looked fine, other than the fact that it just had a lot on it. But to me, it was very simple. It just needed to be purged and organized. And I think the printer should move over to a shelf and have it not be on the desk. I see a shelf, but it has what I call tchotchkes on it in pictures. I think we're past that.
Yeah.
I think when you're going through and trying to run 3 different things, the tchotchkes and the clock and all that need to go off the shelf. And you really need to use that shelving unit to get super, super organized. The next photo is I see a wall with a mirror and a white dry erase. Now, I'm sure she does need a white dry erase to keep everything organized, but wherever I'm seeing wall space, especially with a mirror, I see that as wasted wall space. I think for what she's going through, having a wall of shelving so that she can separate each thing that she needs for each task because she has so much going on. I liked that she had the file system on the wall. I would like to ask her if that's working for her. Some people it works for, some people it really doesn't. I mean, they mean well and it has good intention, but the files end up just getting thrown in there and they never really look at them. Let's see. Near the front door, or the door to that room, behind the door is just a bulletin board with like papers stuck all over it. So I don't think that system is working, and that's where the mirror is. So I feel like something behind the door that would keep her organized with the paperwork. I see a lot of paperwork, and I see a lot of artwork on these walls that is just, I'm not saying they don't mean something. There's a lamp that's taking up room. I'm seeing, and I hate to say this, but a lot of purging needs to be done and reevaluating and relooking at that space. And if because I see another bookcase, we have 2 bookcases, but really keeping a bookshelf for each area that you are needing. That way you go to each shelf for what you need for what you're dealing with in that day. So I think getting really super, super organized and decluttering. Please declutter, because I think that's part of a really big issue. So that's that one. And then I have a pantry.
Oh, good. A pantry.
Yeah. So a pantry. And this is Michelle. Hello, ladies. Your podcast is always a bright light to my day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was planning to be an empty nester. However, my mom is living with us, as well as our youngest daughter with her 10-month-old bundle of joy. Oh,
I'm sure she's experiencing a lot of what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
They love every minute of it, but it's bittersweet because it's tough.
Yes, especially when you have a 10-month-old.
Yeah, that's 4 generations.
Yeah. So the multi-generational food needs have created problems for me with my pantry. It has good potential, but I struggle with keeping things organized with such a variety. Any help would be greatly appreciated. And I have to tell you, her pantry is nice. I mean, it's spacious. So what I saw is lots of great shelving. I mean, really good shelving. I saw a lot of decanting going on, but none of them were full. So it looks like they don't get around to decanting, but they have a lot of
decanting is when you take it out of the packaging
and put it in the container.
Okay.
So they had a lot of those, which I think would work really, really well. They even have them labeled, which I was very, very impressed with. But you have to take the items right when you get them and decant them in, or it's just taking up space, because I see, cereal sitting next to empty cereal containers. So that's taking up space. I would highly suggest a 3-tier organizer for the canned goods. Lazy Susans. I see in here the need for quite a few Lazy Susans, because there's bottles that you can see better. And whenever you're using a Lazy Susan on a shelf, it just helps you see everything you own. If there is any other place to put the corded items, usually there is, but that means you'd have to purge and declutter in the kitchen. So the pantry is always part of a kitchen. It's never really separate. That would help immensely. Not keeping back stock in the pantry, maybe having shelving out in the garage, since you have so many people living there now, and having you pull from the shelving out in the garage when you need more items, instead of keeping back stock in the pantry. I also was thinking, since you have so many different things going on food-wise, even taking a label maker and labeling the actual shelf, like your daughter's name, baby, that way you all have your own space. Or say someone's gluten-free, labeling the actual shelf. I do that a lot. So these are the things I saw, and keeping the items that you are going to keep, like snacks, crackers, any kind of snacky food, in labeled clear bins that you label. That way you have everything labeled. I see one basket, but I don't think that's really doing much of anything. So definitely keep all the canisters together so you have a uniformed look, and make sure you measure the depth and width of each one of these shelves so you get the right item that you need. Because so many people buy organizing products and then they get them home and they don't fit and they don't return them, which brings me to say more clutter. So our last one, and I did save the best for last, and let me tell you why. Vicky says what so many people say, and I think she probably felt she was alone when she was saying this, but I hear this all the time, Vicky. So just so you know, my closet room that I can barely walk into. All my life growing up in Wisconsin, we had basements for storage, which I'm so jealous of, because Florida, we don't have any basements. We have hot garages. I'm a busy business owner with a family in Wisconsin. I would rather have fun with friends and family than tackle this overwhelming space.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's the thing. I hear this all the time. I'd rather be doing, XYZ than doing this. Yeah. I mean, I hear you, but it's not going to do it itself.
Nope.
So here is because I really, by seeing this, have only a few recommendations. She may not want to even hear this, but it's so important if you want this space back and reclaim it as your own, is to pick a date, hire either a professional organizer to help you with this task. You may be looking at this and saying this is going to take a month, but from a professional organizer's eyes, if you do a consultation to look at this ahead of time, this can be tackled in a day. That's it. The whole thing can be done in a day. So hiring a professional organizer would help you with this task and get this done soon and fast. Okay. If you cannot hire a professional organizer, hire a junk removal company. And how you would start this is you would pick a date. A week or two before the date, you get different color Post-it notes, and you put orange Post-it notes for junk. You put pink Post-it notes for donation. You put green Post-it notes for consignment. You literally differentiate what the different colors are, so that when you have Goodwill or whoever you use for donation, Vietnam vets, you know exactly what they're going to take, and you're basically just pointing to it. If you have a junk removal company coming, or someone that has a truck that's going to remove it and take it away, you'll know exactly what is going to junk removal. This is the easiest way to tackle a project like hers because it is overwhelming. It feels overwhelming. You shut the door. It causes anxiety. It causes stress. It even causes a little bit of fear. Like, what if I can never tackle this? Like, what if you start the what if? So getting on top of this and really tackling this is so important. I also don't know about overhead lighting because there was just one little table lamp on. But, once everything's purged and out of there, if you could really look at the lighting in that room before you start adding items back into it, I think that would also help immensely. Good lighting is everything, whether it's a closet, a room, a pantry, no matter what it is.
I want to add something in. And this is, you said Vicky?
Yes.
Vicky. Okay. So Vicky, if you are a friend of mine and not even in my closest, tightest circle, but just somebody that I know and love, and I knew you were going through this, it would be my pleasure to have a ladies' night at your house and tackle this as a group of lady friends. You said you like going out and spending time with your friends, and that's why you don't want to tackle this because there are just a million other things you'd rather do. I get it, but they would love to help you. I bet you have some family members or some friends that could at least come and sit with you while you do it, or you're making
that won't work.
It won't work.
No,
Why?
I'll tell you why. First of all, she's too embarrassed to show this to anybody. Okay, that's the first thing. I'm going to say it. Not that she should be. I'm not saying she should be.
No, she should not be.
Because I see this all the time. So this isn't like some odd, weird thing. But if I'm a betting woman, she wouldn't want her friends coming over and seeing this. Number two, don't get family involved because you'll get nowhere. They'll start going, you can't get rid of this. You can't. What are you, crazy? Aunt Susie gave you that. You don't get family involved. If you have an organized, trusted friend, and everybody has one, and you really do want to tackle this, you might want to call him or her and say, you're so organized. I really need your help. I can't afford to hire someone, whatever the situation is. That's the only way I would see that working, but you'd still need to get your ducks in a row about where the stuff is going. If you don't have a plan ahead of time where everything is going, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to, where it's going in the hallway that you're taking it out of the bedroom. It's not going anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So that's not practical. So you have to have a plan that day. Beforehand. So on that day, it disappears. Mm-hmm. That's why professional organizers, they know this. This is their job. Mm-hmm. So their ability to make things disappear in a day is like a magician. So if you really, really do need help and can afford a professional organizer, that is the first route when you are this overwhelmed and you don't even want to go in the room because it's stacked from the bottom to the top full of stuff.
Okay, so I do stand corrected. I still mean what I say. I would love to come help a friend who needs me to help them, but that may not be the most time efficient way or would work at all. The big takeaway that I got from everything you said, though, here is that we're not alone.
No.
Nobody is judging you like you think they are.
No.
None of these pictures that were sent in even got her to raise one eyebrow.
No. Not even one.
Not even one.
Yeah.
So it's not like we weeded out a bunch of the ones that were horrific.
No, they all looked the same to me and nothing shocked me.
Right. It's not easy to get rid of things. It's not. If it were, you wouldn't have a job.
Well, and also I think as women over 50, I'm going to talk about this. I think that it comes a point in your life. What is the reason you're holding on to this stuff? Now, you see in Vicky's room, I guarantee you most of this stuff will go. And so it's a matter of looking at why am I holding on to this stuff? That's the bigger question here. And I think when you really, really look into why you keep some of the stuff you keep, it's out of guilt. It's out of, I don't know how to designate what to get rid of. I think I want to get rid of everything, but what if something's worth something? What if I feel guilty that my mom's best friend's aunt gave this to me and she may come over to my house. It's those kind of things that stop people from tackling any kind of decluttering project. I am very impressed with these ladies. And like I said before, I would love to see the afters if they end up tackling it. But don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, I see this all the time and it's not abnormal. It's just something I really, really hope to motivate and inspire people to tackle at least one room, one junk drawer, one medicine cabinet. Start small, but start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. That is the key. Because when you boil it all down, it really just comes to taking that first step.
Yes.
And that's with everything in life.
Yes.
Here's a step you could take that would be helpful to your community that you're listening with right now, your uncluttered and unfiltered community, and that is to join our Ladies Only Facebook group. You are cordially invited if you're not already in there. Just seek us out on Facebook. We also have a regular old Facebook page, Uncluttered and Unfiltered. We have all the social media you can find. We always have our podcasts on YouTube, and we also are on Instagram with that contest that's going on right now for the $100 Amazon gift card. Please subscribe, please review. These are all things that help others find us. But the main thing we want you to take away from today is, like we tell you every single week, it is okay. You can let it go.
And don't look back.